Welcome to the fifth episode of The Hard Count. My name is Michael Emami, and on this episode I had the chance to speak with Eastside High School's quarterback Marshall Skoloff. Skoloff is a part of the 2021 class and currently stands at 6'1 and 190 pounds. Skoloff is from South Carolina and is a very prominent dual-threat quarterback. In playing other skill positions in his past, Skoloff possesses a real ability to evade pressure and roll out with unique speed. He has a very underrated arm and real playmaker under pressure. He also has a great voice to have in a locker room. We get a little bit more into that and his leadership qualities as well within the episode. Here is Marshall Skoloff, everyone. Enjoy. What colleges are you looking at and how many visits camps have you done?
So before all the pandemic stuff really started taking off, I visited UNC Charlotte. I went to a Wofford practice, and I went to Charleston Southern. I'm pretty sure those are the only three schools that I had been to, and I'm still interested in all those schools. I like a lot of the SoCon schools. Youngstown State's been talking to me a good amount, so there's a good amount of schools.
All right, awesome. And so I know when we talked, you said that you're kind of just waiting for that D1 offer, and you talked about how that you're a dual threat. And I watched your film, and there were several plays where there was one play that really stuck out in particular where you were on the ground and got the ball off to your receiver. How did this How did this come to be? Was this always the style that you played in? There are a lot of plays where you're kind of just forcing to scramble and you're doing incredible rollouts. Is this like second nature to you?
So my theory behind that is I had always played receiver and running back all the way up until about sixth grade, and I've just always, I was blessed with athleticism, so I really try to take advantage of everything that I can to be the best player I can be. So when I'm out there, it's just I'm not really thinking about what's going on. I'm just, I'm reacting to what's happening in front of me. It's just my first reaction is to, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then whatever happens, happens, and most of the time it works out pretty well.
Right. So that's an interesting thing you brought up. You're a former receiver. So, I was talking with a couple other kids about kind of having empathy for their guys if they make mistakes and whatever. And, does this kind of come into a factor? Like you can kind of empathize with the guys that you're throwing to if something doesn't go right? Is that help foster kind of your leadership qualities, would you say, as a quarterback, having the experience at other positions?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, most definitely. I mean, it's not easy playing any position. So if a kid makes a mistake, I mean, I'm gonna tell him what he did wrong, because if I don't do that, then what kind of leader am I? But at the same time, you don't want to bring that kid down.
Right. Right. So, do you feel like a lot of your guys kind of look up to you at that point of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, most definitely. I mean, I'd hope they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your coach at Eastside. How has he kind of developed you into the player that you are today? And tell me a little bit about your program to kind of get everyone familiar with it.
Yeah, so our head coach, Coach Woolcock, he came from 96. That's up in, I think, Spartanburg area. I'm not too sure, but it's not very close to us. And he was at Eastside about 4 years before I was there, or maybe 3 years. But just a great overall guy, super smart with football. He's a defensive guy, so he does ask me a lot of questions when it comes to offense, and I appreciate that because you can tell he really cares. And he's just, like I say, he's just a great guy. Like, he's someone that all the kids can look up to. We can always go to him if we need anything, if it's football related or not. It's just something really good to have, especially in a coach.
Right, right, and so you kind of brought up the fact that he's kind of more of a defensive mindset, and he asks you these questions. I just want to ask you real quick when it talks about the IQ of the quarterback position. I think you have a very, very strong IQ when you read the field. It was something that kind of I noticed in your highlights. Where do you think that kind of comes from? How much studying of the game have you done? What kind of academic work, not in terms of school, but in terms of football, have you done to kind of make yourself more rounded at the position?
Yeah, so I mean, just a lot of game film, just watching myself, even watching other people, like the greats. Like, for example, I love watching Russell Wilson. He's an undersized guy. He can move when he needs to, and he can throw the ball wherever he wants to. So I love watching those guys just, wing the ball around, seeing how they go through a certain progression. And then obviously some of the quarterback coaches I worked with, like Coach Ramon, Perry Orth, like all these guys, they really do help out when it comes to that. Because when I started playing quarterback, I probably didn't know what a progression even was until I'd say my freshman year. So just a lot of film.
Right, right. And so, with that, who on the team do you think you have the best kind of relationship with coming from that?
So this past year, I probably have my best relationship with the entire O line because I love them and I need them to love me.
Right, right, yeah.
I'd say it's the same this year, honestly. I mean, we had one O lineman. He's now a long snapper at the Citadel, but he's the only one that left. So everybody on that O line, we all have love for each other.
Yeah, yeah. And so you kind of talked about a little bit with Russell Wilson, but so I know you talk about the kind of the role models that you have. Do you have any role models, I would say, in your household? How have your parents kind of influenced you?
Oh yeah, definitely my dad. I mean, he works sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, drives to Columbia, Asheville. Like he drives hours and hours just to work, and always comes home. He'll keep working, and then he'll work out, and then he'll go back to working. So he really put in my mind that hard work is the way to go, and it's the only way to go.
Right, right, and something that I kind of liked here was a quote that was pulled from QB Hit List. You said, "Respect all, but fear none. My work will ultimately define me." What does that kind of mean to you, and where did that come from?
So really, I have always had a chip on my shoulder, and I've had a lot of opportunities taken away from me when it comes to football or just sports in general. So that quote really is just saying I'm going to work harder than everybody else around me, but I'm not really going to be like, this guy sucks, that guy sucks. Like, I'd never say that, but I'm always going to work harder than them.
All right, very, very cool. And then kind of one final question. So when you talk about, I would say, kind of that mentality when you're looking at to do next year, because I think you're going to be a senior, right? You're graduating in 21.
Yes, sir.
So you're going to have like a real kind of leadership position on that team. So what are you kind of going to do, I would say, physically, and I would say also academically, in a sense, on the football field, in terms of how you're going to get the right mental state for the team?
Honestly, just, stay focused, be all in for the team because on Thursday, just this past Thursday, we got football canceled indefinitely until July 28th, that was tough. It was a hard year for me. So
Right.
I have a weight room in my garage. I'm gonna have different groups come over in the mornings. I'm gonna have probably 3 or 4 different groups just so we're not, we're still distancing, doing all that, but everyone's still getting work in. And then we'll hit the field. We're gonna do that probably 3 days every week because it's not a very easy thing to organize. So, but just staying focused, keeping everybody else focused and driven, because I mean what we're going through right now sucks, but this is reality now. So, you gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening. That was Marshall Skoloff from Eastside High School in Taylor, South Carolina. If you'd like to contact Marshall, his Twitter account is mskoloff_3. He's currently a 2-star according to Rivals. I'll have his highlights and stats linked below as well in case you want to check that out in his huddle. If you want to contact me, my Twitter handle is @EmamiMichael, and my YouTube channel is The Hard Count with Michael Emami. My Facebook account is @The Hard Count with Michael Emami in case your parents want to take a look at that and check that out. I'll share that as well. I'd like to thank Marshall also for reaching out to me. He was very proactive and a great young man to speak with. If any of you guys want to be on the show as well, go ahead and send me your highlights and we can go from there. All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening. This has been The Hard Count. Do you have what it takes to go D1?